Okay, now we do the next section. Okay, so there's a word, very important word we learned before, but I think I need you to understand what this really means. When you see the word volume, what comes to your mind? What is an alternative word for volume that has got the same meaning? Any idea? Mass. Volume is amount. Sorry? Space is a good word. The volume is the amount of space something occupies. When I say something has big volume, means it occupies a lot of space. There's another word as well that can give you an idea of what volume means. Space is correct. That's one of the words I'm looking for. There's another one. See if anybody can figure out. Chloe, what is the other word? Can you figure out? By the way, it starts with S as well. Space and S for Sophie. Sophie, what is the other word you can think of? That will give you a good sense of what volume means. Darius, four-letter word. Correct, it's size. When we want to say that the person is very big size, how can you say it nicely? You can say, oh, your volume is huge. And people, you won't understand what you're saying. Actually, you're saying his big size. So volume really is size. It is the space. Understand? This is a very important idea. So let's go back to the box A and box B example again. This is A, this is B. Who obviously is bigger size? B, right? So you can say box B has larger volume than A. This should make sense to you, agree? Now let's imagine this box on its own have got no mass. That means they have no mass. They are all massless or weightless, the way any way you want to see it. Now, let me do this now. I'm going to put in 3 items inside. 3, okay? I'm going to put in 1 only. Which box has more mass? Box what has more mass? Box A has more mass than B. Can you understand this statement? So can you understand there are 2 different things, you know? One was comparing the volume and the other was comparing the mass. Sometimes we joke about this. It's recorded. Doesn't sound nice, but I will say that. Okay. Sometimes we look at a person very big size, and we say, why is he doing some stupid things? Obviously, a lot of the space in his head didn't go to the brain. It's got a lot of size, but the mass of the brain is very small. In the army, we always disturb people. Or if we see a muscular person doing stupid things, then we will say his brain is full of muscle, not full of brains. Okay? So what am I saying here? The word volume and the word mass are 2 different things. Can you have more volume but lesser mass? The answer is yes. So what is the conclusion here? The conclusion here is it's possible to have larger volume but smaller mass. This is the example I mentioned. My student felt cheated about the potato chips. He bought a pack of chips, looks big on the outside, a lot of size. But when you open up, the mass inside is actually very small. Can you understand this? Okay, 2 different things. Copy this now. Make sure you understand what is volume. Okay, it's space, it is size. Pause the recording here. I will use one example to help you. Islam also cannot really draw, actually. This is supposed to represent a cube, okay? Now, let's say this is 2 cm by 2 cm by 2 cm, okay? Can you tell me what is the total volume supposed to be? If it's 2 by 2 by 2, what is the total volume? This is the primary school math. You all pass PSLE, right? Come on, tell me the answer. What is 2 times 2 times 2? 8. Okay, this is simple stuff. Okay, 8 cm cube. Let's say we know that the mass of the whole thing, let's say we know, okay, it's 160 grams. Let's assume we know 160 grams. So I can ask a few things. Number one, what is the total mass? Of course, the answer is going to be 160 because I just told you it's 160. I can ask the next question. What is the mass that is found in 1 cm cube of the object? Okay. Before I say anything further, I want all of you to think about this question and think about the answer, because I'm very certain all of you can do this. Okay, I'll pause the recording here first. Recording. So there's no trick here. The answer is simply 20 grams. How can we do this? This is what you can write. You can write things like 8 cm cube, an arrow sign, to tell yourself 8 cm cube is actually 160 grams. So if now I'm interested to know 1 cm cube, I'm sure you can find out what is this value here now, right? And this actually works out to be 20 grams. Okay? Understand how you found 20? Now let's go back to this diagram again. I'm going to show you where is 1 cm cube. Okay? Because this diagram is drawn 2 by 2 by 2, would you agree that these green lines that I'm drawing is to demarcate where is the midpoint? Okay, so what is 1 cm cube? 1 cm cube is actually this green cube here. Can you see this green cube that I'm drawing? If I can chop off this part, would you agree that this is the 1 cm cube? Can you visualize this with me? Yes, this is 1 cm cube, all right? This is the meaning of density. This is what density means. Density means 1 cm cube, how many mass? I say it again. Density means 1 cm cube, how many mass you find inside. That is called density. You understand? I say one last time. Density means in 1 cm cube, how much mass I can find in there. That is called density. I write this down for you. How should you understand what is density? It is the mass that is found in 1 cm cube of the object. I put inverted commas because this is not what you're going to write in the exam. This is to help you understand first. Can you understand what is density now? I just need to know. You don't need to tell me how heavy is the whole. You don't need to tell me the mass of everything. I'm not interested in everything. I just want to know what is the mass of 1 cm cube. Is this clear? Okay, I'll give you time to copy this first. I pause the recording. Okay, I am sure now, after teaching this, you should be able to find the density of this other example that I'm going to give you. Okay, let's illustrate this, okay? Let me change things a little bit. Let's say this is 1 cm, 1 cm, and this is 2 cm, okay? And then, so are you able to find the volume? I'm sure you can, right? I leave it to you to do this. Now, let's imagine the mass of this whole thing is actually 100 grams, okay? Do you think you can find for me what is the density of this object now? Okay, so there are two things I want you to fill in. I want you to fill in for me what is the volume and what is the density using what I've just taught you about density. Can you do this now? I pause the recording here. The answer for the volume, what do you all have? At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And therefore, what do you write the density to be? Okay, great. So you can find the value 50, right? Congratulations. You have just figured out how to calculate density without having to use a formula. The school, in the first 2 minutes teaching you this thing, will show you the formula, which is a poison, because the formula doesn't tell you what's going on. You won't understand what you're doing. To you, when you see formula, your job is just to put in the numbers and solve the answer. But now, because you have understood what density means, you're able to get the answer without the formula. Okay? Darius, you just came back from the workshop. Is it 2 and 50? Yeah. Congratulations. Very good. Understand what's going on so far? This is what density means. I can now move on to the next question. And I'm very certain you can solve this because you no longer need the formula. Now, let's imagine I've got unknown substance, all right? The volume is actually unknown. That means you do not know the volume. But I'm telling you that the density I know the density is actually 10 gram per cm cube. Now look carefully. Now I start to show you the units. This is 10 gram per cm cube. Are you able to write this in words? What it means? 1 cm cube contains how many gram? This is the something per something that I mentioned earlier on. Every 1 cm cube has 10 gram. Understand? You do not know the volume, but you know the mass. I'm telling you the mass is 40 grams. 40 grams. This is 40 grams. Think about what I'm telling you here so far. I'm telling you, we know this, we know this. Can you now tell me what is this unknown value? You take your time, you do this now. I will pause the video here. So it's very good. All of you could get the answer. It's actually 4 cm cube. So how do you figure this out? If you know that every cm cube is 10 grams, and given 40 grams, you can do basic mathematics and then work backwards to say, okay, this must have been 4 cm cube. Understand this now? Okay. So there's one more variation. There are 3 variations. The first is this, where you do not know the density you're supposed to find. The second variation is you do not know the volume you're supposed to find. Then the third variation will be you do not know the mass you're supposed to find. So let me do the last one with you. Last one. Now let me give you another object. Let's call this object Y. Okay. I know the density. The density is actually 2 grams per cm cube. And I also know the volume. The volume is actually 10 cm cube. This is the mass that we do not know, and I want you to find this unknown mass. What would this be? I pause the recording here. Think about this now. Okay, very good. All of you give me the right answer. The answer is 20 grams. But how to do this? I like it when they give me things like this. When they give me something per something, I use that as my starting point. I can write down 1 cm cube is going to be 2 grams, something per something. That's my starting point. But because I know the volume is actually 10 cm cube, then I can just use mathematics and figure out this is going to be 20 grams. Understand? Okay. Let me stop the recording here.